peace, 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 peace.
Peace, peace, peace. Welcome to the Speak Your Mind podcast with the Ali's. We in the building. Today is 5/9, 2021. Peace, peace to the people. Can you hear me out there?
I hear you.
Everybody hear me?
I hear you.
Hold on. I'm not getting sound. Hold on. Peace.
I hear you.
You hear me now? Okay,
Yes.
peace. Peace
Peace.
to everybody out there. Happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day. This is the Speak Your Mind podcast with the Ali's. Unfortunately, I can't get our beginning to play because somehow I think the phone erased the app that I had the actual beginning of the podcast on there.
Wow.
Yeah, so I can't find the beginning. So we're just gonna have to introduce it. Welcome to the Speak Your Mind podcast with the Ali's. We speak about this week's current events, different things affecting Black culture, and everything in Black America in general, and different things that are happening in the community. So we
Mm-hmm.
here today to celebrate Mother's Day first and foremost. I want to say salute and peace and happy Mother's Day to my queen, Shanice Gatewood Ali. Peace, Queen. Happy Mother's Day.
Peace. Thank you so much. And thank you for taking me out before we got on our show. Thank you. The food was good. So we did our early brunch thing going on. So thank you so much. Peace
Right.
to all the mothers that's out there. And listen, pet owners, aunties, whomever, at the end of the day, you are still mother of the universe. So peace to you and happy Mother's Day to you.
So if anybody wants to send a shout out to their mother on Mother's Day today, they could definitely call into the podcast. Matter of fact, we're gonna keep the line open all day in
Okay.
case somebody wants to call in and just say, Happy Mother's Day to their mother, talk
Mm-hmm.
about different things that their mother have done for them. Oh, this is what happened. They changed the icon when it comes to the Anchor app. Okay. But anyway, if anybody wants to call in and shout out their mother, speak about different things that their mother did for them in their life, they welcome to call in. So other than that, we had a couple things we wanted to talk about today. And I know you wanted to start out with We Are Phenomenal Women and the work that We Are Phenomenal Women has been doing. And I know I helped you, I assisted with some things that we did the other day. So you could speak about that. You could start about that.
Okay. So We Are Phenomenal Women is an organization that want to educate our people. I used to say women, but our people on domestic violence, right? So a lot of people do not know that you can be in a domestic violence relationship verbally, especially when the person is constantly all the time putting you down, calling you out of your name. They could be using the word fat or stupid, things in that nature, things that's going to put you down as a woman. Or you have some men, no, women that do the same thing to the men, put them down, talk down to them, degrade them. That is verbally abuse, verbal abuse. So that's what the organization is about. We go out to churches, anywhere anybody need us. We talk about domestic violence. We also speak on bullying because bullying is the baby of domestic violence. The person that is bullying someone, and it don't necessarily have to be children. It can be adults, people, senior citizen age group, anybody and everybody could be a bully. However, if the person doesn't get called out and they feel like they intimidated somebody, they're making somebody feel ashamed about themselves, you are being a bully. However, last month, I think it was March or April, I was running um a flyer stating that thank you, stating that we are collecting items to give to a shelter, domestic violence shelter in particular. Those are the shelters I usually work with. And we, Ladies of Lavender, they're in Queens, and she's a sister of ours. Appreciate her 100%. Sister from a mother, from a different mother and father, but she's still sister. She brought down three big old hefty bags worth of baskets, towels, washcloths, combs, brushes. Oh my goodness, it was so much stuff. So after that, it was some things also that we bought as well from people who donated. Thank you for all the donations. As y'all saw, my husband and I was up late putting everything together. So we had the small shampoos, the conditioners, the baths, bath gel, two balls of soap, deodorant, toothbrush, toothpaste, combs, more combs, notebooks, um, all of that. We used the same baskets that Ladies of Lavender had put together, and we put it inside of that. Then after that, that Thursday, we went all the way. I can't say the address, but anyway, we went to the shelter and we pretty much gave them all the bags of everything that people donated, as well as donation, cash donation, as well as donations from um, their personal homes, right? So after that, Sister Sheila Hart was blessed with I Am Phenomenal journal workbook, which was sponsored by the God I Be, and that's for April. He sponsored that, and we was able to give it to Miss Sheila Hart, as well as May, which the month that we are in now. Miss Delphine, she sponsored a book as well. So we will, definitely give that to someone who will enjoy that gift. And thank you to everyone who purchased I Am Phenomenal journal workbook. It's not a novel, nothing like that. It's a workbook, a healing workbook that have quotes, that have work. Some people are going to go through it and say, "Oh, that was it," but that isn't it. You got to do the work. So, thank you.
Excellent. You said Uncle Mark too, right?
Oh my goodness. Thank you to yes, 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 yes. Thank you for reminding me. So, oh boy, Brother Mark had put together some beautiful, beautiful boxes of it was bracelets, it was nail polish, which they had to take the nail polish out because it was glass. It was pads, it was oh my goodness, he put together a nice gift for the ladies. It was about 25 boxes. So we went to him and we picked that up. And listen, that was so awesome. That came from him, but Brother Mark wants to also add others to get the credit as well. So we got FUS, which is Family United for Solutions.
Yes.
Okay. And we also have brothers, no, Circle
Oh,
of Brothers.
that's right.
Circle of Brothers who was a part of that. And thank you, Brother Mark. Once again, we're going live and we're saying thank you so much for what you did. Um, the email and the text that I received was they absolutely loved it. So thank you again.
Oh, that's excellent. That's what's up.
Mm-hmm.
So you got an email from the head of the shelter.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's what's up. That's what's up. So So we also did something yesterday. Yesterday
Mm-hmm.
was a good event. Um, we actually are part of a community coalition,
Mm-hmm.
right? With various organizations in the neighborhood. It's called the
Mm-hmm.
County Cullen Community Coalition, right?
Right.
It started at PS 194 in Harlem. That's on 143rd Street,
Yes.
between 7th and 8th. So the coalition consists of um I am phenomenal. We are phenomenal women. Families United for Solutions. Um, the Rucker, Holcomb Rucker, um, cousin George, and PS 194, and Uncle Mark McPhee. Yeah, so we all came together to start this community coalition, basically to give back to the community and work with parents and students within that school to deliver great information, whether it be health information. Oh yeah, the Peacemakers. My uncle Pop from the Peacemakers. He was also a founding member of the County Cullen Community Coalition. Shout out to them. So yesterday we had our launching event where everybody came out and basically spoke about what we're gonna offer the community. So I'm gonna play a couple clips real quick from that so that y'all can see what we were doing yesterday. Okay, so let me just play this real quick. All right, you can see. All right. Say, want to say what the financial best are in this meeting.
And that's Pop from the Peacemakers.
And the teachership, as a teacher, and help the school, support the community, with the love for the nation. The love in so many different ways. But your support is always the most key. The family always praise the school and the community. Show support. They continue to let each and everyone know what is needed in those. I've seen that, Joe. As a team of people, as a man, you can help us. Not trying to help others, but not helping yourself. I just want you to know that we love you and we thank you for all that you do. God bless you. Good morning. And you can easily recognize that because everything that we are facing every day is against us to realize that we have power. The only way we're going to do that is to realize that we're family and we have to unite. That's how we're going to get through all of this and make our circumstances change. We're here to find solutions to make our situations change. We want to do that through the youth and their families. I want to thank Principal Harrison, whoever, who have given us this invitation. And that definitely could have been done without George, cousin George, as we definitely love to. Maybe you can contact you, or you on Zoom or anything like that? Most likely have for you. We have to organizing. Now see Bailey out there. Hi Bailey. Hi Zoe. How you doing? Okay. All right. So I'm not going to say much. I am going to say though, we're on WHR 90.3 FM. How many of you know WHR? Oh, okay, that's good. That's good. Well, I'm on Fridays, every other Friday on WHCR 90.3 FM on a program called Harlem 411 and Beyond. And we want y'all to listen. It's the only radio station that Harlem's got. Okay? And we're losing radio stations. We're losing them left and right. We lost WWRL. And I'm a talk show junkie. So I listen to talk radio. And we're losing talk radio left and right. It's a valuable means of communication. name of my father who died from certain health disparities that made the coronavirus more strong within him. He had diabetes and hypertension, right? And these are things that are prevalent within our communities. Many of our family members have these disparities, right? But I believe that our children are our link to the future, and they need to be nurtured, respected, loved, protected, and educated, right? So that we don't keep these health disparities going on. A lot of us is out here, we talk about the vaccine, and if you want to get the vaccine, that's very important for you to do that. However, what is the underlying cause? The underlying cause is the health disparities.
So I come to you to speak on bullying. Oh, let me go back. I am a 20 plus survivor of domestic violence. My abuser was on 136th Street. I lived on 140th Street. So once again, I'm telling you, all this is me. Edgecombe. How Edgecombe have the Jamaicans on the blocks. Okay? Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
So once again, that's just me. So bullying is what I come to the table. I used to go to 195 up on the hill, and I don't want to say I was a bully, but I think I was. Since I think about it. What is bullying? At the time, we didn't have cyberbullying. But we had the bullies that would sit around the table and talk about you, your mama, and everybody else, right? Don't even know the people. But this is how we used to get back at the person. Talk about your shoes, your sneakers, all that, just to make you feel bad. They can do the same thing and get 3 to 5 years. Meanwhile, our black kings are going away for 25 plus years. This young lady, Zoe, now she don't have nobody to have a husband to grow with, to build with, because all our kings is away. So I think we need to start thinking smarter.
It's part of his organization, which is First Food, so we're going to have her come up and speak on his behalf.
So they had a fight. They come out and they serve her. I'm nervous now. Big Joy. Amen. I just thought just that quick. Amen. Joy, she's always with us, helping us to serve. Amen.
Everybody, how y'all doing? Peace. I said peace, everybody. How y'all doing? Peace. That's what I like to hear, everybody. Everybody named Cartier Conway. I'm from Harlem. Anywhere through Harlem, I'm from. I say every block I've been on. I went to this school when I was younger, and it's just an honor and a blessing just for actually having me. It's having some things to have me as well. It's an honor to be here to actually talk to you and be able to relate to y'all. Understand? You know what I mean by that? Relate to y'all.
Yes.
Understand? I look about myself. I'm a 7-time Apollo winner. I am the youngest senior in Apollo history. I'm the Simi Davis of our town. That's what they call me of hip hop. If you don't know what Simi Davis did, he was a phenomenal all-around entertainer. From singer, actor, dancer, Renaissance man, he did it all. So it's an honor to even have my name in the same breath as that man. I'm a part of the organization called Guns Down Life Up, which is based on the Lincoln Hospital. And what we provide is a lot of different things for our youth. We have mentorship as far as our young men. We actually teach you how to box, big brother things, teach you how to have your own business, how to get your LLC, teach you the business or how to carry your business, understand, things of that nature. If you believe in something, you go after it. And I always teach my youth, anything is possible when you put your mind to it.
That's right.
No matter where you from. Don't let nobody tell you can't do something.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Period.
She was there, helping him distribute food out to the community. And basketball just been my life. So we came out there helping him with the food. And I said, man, we came to the school. And I started talking to Camille, where he met, Miss Gill. And then I met Miss Harrison, and we sat down, so let's meet. You know, I gave him my card information, and she contacted me. The next thing you know, I'm a substitute teacher in this school.
Come on. Right.
And I was to get my master's to be full-fledged teacher.
All right.
I felt comfortable because I'm around kids every single day. And my passion is to help them to become better because someone helped me be better.
That's right.
Yeah. So, you know, that's just a sample. That's just a sample of what we partaked in yesterday. That was various speakers. I forgot about Cartier from SOS. Yeah, he's also a founding member of the County Cullen Community Coalition and the brother from the Rucker. So, you know, we definitely gonna do some great things in the future. The principal is buying in to the organization. You know, they also have a food pantry within the school, so we promoting that. And we got some upcoming events. I'm trying to organize a health fair in the near future. I'm trying to spur my wife to do a bullying event in the near future. And, you know, we just going to keep these events going. As the summertime comes through, we're going to have as many events, try to get the community involved. No, we're going to get the community involved. I think we got buy-in from the community yesterday. It was a good turnout. Although it was raining, we still turned out and we did what we had to do. So that's
absolutely. Peace. So yesterday it was so beautiful to hear, you know, one of the ladies, what is she, the director?
Mm-hmm.
Do we have a caller?
Yes, we do.
Call from
Father El Nikar.
To accept, press 1. To send a voicemail, press 2.
Peace, caller. This is the Speak Your Mind podcast with the Ali. State your name.
Peace and love. Hello?
Hello?
Peace.
Can you hear us? Can you hear us?
Barely hear you. It's real low. You hear me?
Yeah, we hear you loud and clear.
Okay. Yeah, my name is Trevor Hellmuth. I'm a Harlemite. Originally started my life in Harlem, went to Brooklyn, and I'm black in Harlem again. I just want to speak about this Mother's Day thing. My mother's not here right now. She went 2 years ago. This April made 2 years.
My condolences.
My thing about this Mother's Day thing is that we have these misogynist males amongst us in these communities that abuse our women, like the guys that beat that woman up in Harlem a couple of weeks ago when they found them as unknown. And these are the same dudes that's going around giving out flowers, talking about Happy Mother's Day. And that's very hypocritical and contradictory, including people who don't involve in domestic violence doing the same thing. And I've always been of the mindset that we shouldn't be having somebody that don't care about us, the government, or people who don't even look like us, telling us to celebrate Allah's most precious jewel, which is the black woman. God's most precious jewel. That's our woman. And the woman is the essence of our life substance. And if we don't educate her and enlighten her, we're going to have wild children because they're not going to have no foundation. That's their first teacher, that woman. Whatever you give to her, she's going to give to the baby.
That's right.
And when we celebrate Mother's Day according to this European system, we're giving all the money back to them. We're taking out our hard-earned money and giving it to them. I don't see nobody buying nothing from black people. If we're going to follow any European holiday, this is my perspective of it, if we're going to celebrate any European holiday, we should be buying from our own people.
That's right.
If I want to buy flowers, I'm going to buy flowers from you and give to my mother and whatever lady in my family. If I want
Mm-hmm.
to day when we're supposed to be giving gifts, I'm going to buy from my own people because our economic power is degenerated by giving all our money back to them. It's just like when the stimulus thing came and any other thing that the government gives money for. We think we're not paying for that. They're giving us our own tax money back and we're giving it back to them instead of giving it to our community and letting that money come around. And this is
Absolutely.
things in all of the communities that I've lived in these 40 plus, 50 plus years now that I've always been against. And in my family, we've chosen to take our own days and celebrate the people in our family, whether it's
There you go.
grandmothers or whoever. But that's just my message to everybody that we need to start depending on ourselves. Because like myself, I'm a clothes designer, and I have a brand called 7K to Soul Art Brand that has 3 clothing labels under it. And I'm like, all of the people that I know, just on a personal level, not even people outside of my circle, why ain't one of them came to us and said, well, give us some flowers, give us some clothes, some jewelry, whatever, to give to our mothers, to women in our family. That's the mindset we need to have. What's called economic self-empowerment, and that's from Mother's Day today. And I want to close that by sending a shout out to all my sisters, Cecilia, and Asia. They know who they are because they should be listening because I told them to go on to the podcast.
Thank you.
Definitely to remember your mother in actions, not just words.
There you go.
Yeah, that's super
Wow.
thing. I really appreciate that, and that's the
Yes.
point that you made. We
Mm-hmm.
definitely have to. And I'm looking. We just took a walk. We just took a walk around the block. We walked from 7th Avenue over there by IHOP, and then we walked over to Lenox and all of that. And I'm just doing the knowledge to the situation. I'm seeing, like all of these different holidays, they have people coming out and they got the flowers, they got the candy, they got this, they got that. But the question is, just like you said, where is the money going back to? Because
Right.
a lot of that stuff we don't produce.
Right. So can I do, I would love to say there is a black flower shop that been on 135th Street for years, and that's actually where we purchased our flowers for our wedding. However, I did see a line out there. We did see a line
Yeah, that's a
from
fact.
right. We did see that, and I definitely appreciate. I think we started to wake up, and I would love for you to come back on and talk about your clothing line as well as this point that we're making right now. We need to start actually pumping pumping the knowledge into the people's head and get them also to see what we're doing wrong and how to turn it to something right because we have been taught the wrong things for so long. Now, what we did with our stimulus check, we built our nonprofit. I mean, excuse me, for profit. So, I see now we got more cars on the streets now. We can't even find parking on our own block because now everybody went out there and got cars. I mean, to whoever that want to get a car, but at the end of the day, once that money falls, what do you have to back you up? So thank you, brother, for
True.
calling in. I appreciate you. I would love to get you to come back on and talk about what you're doing in the neighborhood.
So I put our email address in the chat. You could reach out to us on that email right there, and we could schedule a day so you could come on and talk about your clothing line, and you could show the different products that you're offering the community. Because we all about Black empowerment, we all about Black business. So we definitely salute you, and we want you to come back on.
Will do. Give thanks.
All right, peace,
Salute,
King.
brother.
Peace.
Wow, that's a good point. He made a very good point. That's why I'm happy we just ate. We didn't give our money to no other extra money to anybody else. But yeah, you know what? Like the sister said yesterday at that event, she said we all are entrepreneurs. We just have to start looking at ourselves that way. We have to just come to term. Even a rapper, he's an entrepreneur. She stated yesterday.
That's a
So we have so many people that's authors. We got people that's doing clothing line. We got so much stuff going on in our own community, and our own people will walk past the stuff that's from us, walk past us to go to somebody else that have it somewhere else, and they putting their money
Is the
to
name
the
of her
other people.
organization Grameen?
Yeah.
Grameen, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the organization that invests into women entrepreneurs in the Harlem
Mm-hmm.
area, right? So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's definitely a good organization. I first noticed them when I went to the Make My Cake. Yeah, Make My
Mm-hmm.
Cake. They had
A
a
flyer.
advertisement and Make My Cake.
Mm-hmm.
So they going around. They going around and they she said she will invest I think 1,500.
So what she does is she help people build their credit as well. So what they do is they will give you the money, but in the midst of you getting the money from her or from the people, it's like a Susu Pot. That's what I'm
Mm,
saying. Because actually I was trying to start up a Susu Pot for businesses, right? So if we have 10 people and we all put money into the Susu Pot, that person who is absolutely ready, who actually have a business whole model and everything is done, then we would give that money to that person so that person can start up their business. And then we could invest in that person's business as stockholders. And that's what I wanted to do. But nobody didn't want to join that Zoom. But it was okay. Maybe somebody hear me now probably want to do it. I don't know. But at the end of the day, we need to start bringing it. A lot of these Asian restaurants happen because they put their money into the pot, and that's how they get they restaurants, as well as some of the Dominican. It's being done, but nobody not sharing the information, and us as African Americans, we're not thinking like that. We're thinking that person might run off with the money. Listen, at the end of the day, I personally don't have time to be running off on somebody's money. I work in the shelter system, and I even told one of the sisters, listen, I would never do that because guess what? My luck is my everything is going so smoothly with me. I don't need to do anything wrong to anybody, and that sh will come back on me.
right.
Negative, negative. So you just have to know who you trust and who you want to, put your money in that person's hands. So
Now, I do agree with the brother in certain aspects as far as us not following European holidays, so forth and so on. However, at the same time, I know that certain times a year, our other family members that may not be as conscious as we are, they do gather at these certain events. And I do want to spend time with my family, and I don't want to be a spoiled sport and try to knock down everything that they're doing. So,
right,
I do want to participate just so I can spend time with my family, but I also want to offer up alternative events that they could participate in as well. Unfortunately, a lot of times they just want to participate in their events and they don't want to come to our events. So we'll figure that out. But as we go on, we just want to be at the table with our family so we can speak about different things and give them more insight into the way that things are moving as far as where we're spending our money and how the money is being distributed in our community, which is very important. But
right.
on to the next topic. Last night we had another versus battle, so we wanted to touch on that real quick.
Well,
You know,
actually, let's get back to the community piece on 42nd. Can we
oh,
talk about that?
okay. You want to get into that first?
Yes.
Okay. So let me get to that.
Thank you.
All right. So where we at? Okay, here we go. So there was a shooting in Times Square yesterday, right? I was just downtown, like right before the shooting, and I wasn't too far. I was on like 30 something street, and I got the notification on my phone that something had happened. I'm like, wow. So according to the New York Times, it says 3 people were shot. Originally, they said, "Oh man, are they gonna stop me from reading this article?" Okay, it says 3 shot, including a 4-year-old in Times Square. The police said that the child who was shot in the leg, as well as 2 other victims, both women, were expected to survive. A fight among several men. This is May 8th, 2021, written by Troy Clausen and Michael Levinson. A fight among several men in Times Square on Saturday led at least one of them to pull out a gun and open fire, injuring 2 women and a 4-year-old girl, the police said. The girl, who was toy shopping with her family, was shot in the leg and expected to survive, as were the 2 women, a 23-year-old tourist from Rhode Island who also was shot in the leg, and a 43-year-old from New Jersey who was shot in the foot. I believe the 43-year-old was the young girl's mother. The victims who did not know it said they didn't know one another. Originally, they reported that it was the mother and the little girl, but I guess not. The victims who did not know one another were taken to Bellevue Hospital Center after the shooting at 4:55 p.m. near 7th Avenue and West 145th Street, police said. The girl was undergoing surgery on Saturday evening, the police said. Thankfully, these innocent bystanders are in stable condition, Mayor Bill de Blasio said on Twitter. The perpetrators of this senseless violence are being tracked down, and the NYPD will bring them to justice. The flood of illegal guns into our city must stop. Police Commissioner Dermot Shea said that police were looking for information about one person of interest and believed there was at least one gunman. He said it was early in the investigation, too early in the investigation to say what sort of dispute might be preceding the shooting, although he said it appeared that 2 to 4 men had been involved. It was instantaneous, he said, of the shooting, adding that an officer nearby had heard 4 to 5 shots. No gun was recovered, he said. By about 6:40 p.m., nearby streets were fully barricaded to traffic and most pedestrians. Shops and restaurants at the center of Times Square, like Starbucks, Gap, and Taco Bell, were emptied out. Wow. And, I was downtown yesterday, so I seen it was a lot of people out yesterday. People were out there shopping. As the brother just added on to, they was giving that money up for the Mother's Day gifts. Lines was around the corner. So, for a situation or erupt right there in Times Square, I was on 34th Street and I seen, crazy people out there. So not crazy as in, mentally unstable. Right. A lot of people out there. So I can imagine what 42nd, they say 42nd Street is the center of the world. Times Square and all of that is the center of the world. So you just get into a dispute out there and just start shooting. It's no telling who's going to get hit.
Right. Absolutely. And that's the issue. Like, I think people, whoever that have these illegal guns, they are so trigger happy. And like I told the youth yesterday, sometimes certain beefs is not even worth even talking about, arguing about, or, come on. You just, because if you think about it, you're going to get the wrong end of the handle of the spoon or the handle. You're going to get it. You're going to have years upon years upon years. And this is evidence based. This is not something that's maybe you might get let off. You might. No, there's no might. You going in. They find out who you are. Trust and believe me, there's cameras every doggone where. Cameras on the poles to the lights. Cameras on the shopping, the stores. There's cameras. It's phones with cameras. Come on. I don't understand why we are still in the same state of nonsense. And I say nonsense because that's what it is. It's just purity nonsense. You just want to whip out your gun and just shoot. And when they find you and catch you, you're going to jail. There's no might in this. You're going to jail. And on top of that, you shot a white woman on top of that? Oh my God. You're going to jail, bruh. Let's really talk about it. There's no other way about it. There's no best lawyer in town that's going to stop you from going to jail. So listen, you're 15.
I want to add though, we're not saying that to put more value on white life, but what we are saying is that there's shootings all the time in our neighborhoods. Like it was just a information put out the other day that has been over 10 shootings in our neighborhoods in the last few days. And these shootings did not make the New York Times, but you just did a shooting in Times Square. This joint is going all across the country. They're going to promote that because they said a tourist was shot.
Ooh, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Wowzers. Listen,
Yeah.
I I just need for us to start thinking a little bit more wiser. Certain beefs is really not that important to get into that you want to shoot someone and spend the rest of your life in prison. And then you want to sit there and think about it. Like, why did I do it again? I mean, come on. Where we at in life now? We just on this rampage that we don't value our life anymore. That's what it is. Who in the world want to be in jail or prison for 25 years because they're going to give it to you? And then what happens? You got to follow what they say. You're no longer free. You got to follow what they say. So, and not to mention, you got to worry about maybe you might get into a fight in jail. It's just where we at. Like, I ain't never in my life seen so much reckless behaviors in all times. Are they pushing that we need more police? Forget this police reform. We need more police out here. We got Asians getting jumped or hit or beat up or whatever. What is going on? The mental health population, that's going rampant. We walk down Lenox Avenue, there's a guarantee we're going at a 5-block ratio, we're going to run into at least three persons with mental disorders. Like the blocks is not even safe no more. Can I say excuse me anymore without somebody being hyper and want to kick my ass? I mean, what is going on? I don't get it. I really don't get it. And it's not just happening in New York, people. It's all around the world. But for some reason, because we live in New York City, we paying more attention. But if you go into the news somewhere else, trust and believe me, it's happening in other places.
Right. So there was another case too. Matter of fact, we need to touch on that too. So there was another case that happened in Brooklyn. That was a shooting, and they just made a major arrest in Brooklyn over this shooting of a 1-year-old DeVale Gardner in Brooklyn. So it says, this is from CBS New York, a local news. It says more than a dozen alleged gang members of a violent Brooklyn-based street gang have been indicted on murder and weapons charges. Their alleged crimes include the shooting death of a 1-year-old last summer. Wow. As CBS 2's Alice Gaynor reported Thursday, police say they were the highest ranking and most violent members in the gang. Wow. Now, one showed, Brooklyn District Attorney Eric Gonzalez showed numerous videos of the shootings allegedly committed at the hands of members of the Hooli gang. One showed the July 2020 shooting that killed 1-year-old DeVale Gardner. 1-year-old DeVale Gardner Jr. was shot and killed while sitting in the stroller outside a Brooklyn playground. DeVale Gardner Jr., only 22 months old, sitting in the stroller when he was shot and killed, Gonzalez said. Too young, too small to survive the injuries. 2 gunmen shooting indiscriminately towards a park where people were having a barbecue. 4 people in total were shot, including Gardner. His life was too short. He was a happy baby, never gave problems, the little boy's godfather said. Wow. So, I mean, what I really stress that people do understand when it comes to these type of shootings and the stuff that's going on in our neighborhoods, it's an overall structural issue, right? It's an overall structural issue. And now you're seeing it spill out into, places like Times Square where it gets national attention. But these shootings like the shooting of this 1-year-old is not something that I don't think had national attention, but it should have had national attention because there's less value for these neighborhoods, right? There's less money invested in these neighborhoods. There's just stronger police forces in these neighborhoods, and the lack of opportunity in these neighborhoods breeds the amount of violence, the lack of education, the lack of jobs, the lack of good housing. All of these different things are factors that contribute to the amount of violence and crime that are in certain neighborhoods. And we only look at certain events, and we look at the event and we make these pleas about the certain event. But what about the overall structure that breeds the event? And I know it's a lot of pushback on that because people are saying, oh, well, our people are ignorant and they just want to go out there and shoot. And they want to have these gangs and they're thugs and all of this different stuff. But I like to look at the macro as opposed to the micro. I was once part of the problem. So, I understand. I understand completely. I was once part of the problem, but now I understand the macro that makes these structures take place.
I'd rather, I bet you when more, okay, Times Square, because the first thing they say is we got to get these guns off the street. Okay, I hear you. But when it start affecting more of a certain class, they really going to try to do something about it. Right now it's just more of us, right here, I'm going to say in the Harlem community, is more of us, or the Brooklyn community, of we constantly keep hearing these things here that's going on. Oh, you just putting a Band-Aid over the wound just to do it? I mean, come on. We have to really figure out what is the real issue in order for us to break that issue. And that's basically what you're saying. What is the real issue? Like, for example, the restaurants, right? Remember we was hearing on the news, the restaurants is complaining that they want people to come back to work and blah, 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 but the stimulus checks and the da-da-da-da-da. People are actually saying, I'm getting more money from the unemployment checks that they have with the whole COVID situation. They getting more money at home versus them going to work. So now these restaurants and these other agencies, Atlantic City, they complaining. They're like, yo, if y'all stop this, there's money coming into them, then we could give them these low wage jobs. What's going on here? So now we back into the whole poverty situation. It's all about control. I keep constantly saying that. Domestic violence, we talk about domestic violence in relationships, but goddamn, this domestic violence in our country. Power and control.
Yeah, but we talk about the community violence within our communities, but I don't hear much conversation about the domestic terrorism, right? We hear these events that go on, like the person who went up in the massage parlors down there in Florida, shot up the different people and all of that. We heard about that for a week or two, and now we don't hear about it, right? Now, the real issue, to be honest with you, is the right to bear arms, which is on one side, and the gun lobby on the other, right? The gun lobby now. These people with the gun lobby, they're not going to let you take these guns out of being sold and distributed in the country because they're making money and money with these guns, right? So they're advocating for these guns to be distributed. They're advocating for these guns to be made. Now, President Biden, he just recently spoke about that bill where they had a certain amount of bullets that could be in a magazine. You're not allowed to have certain type of guns. That bill has lapsed, right? And now they're he's trying to get that bill passed again so that you can stop having these big big guns with the 36 round clips and all of these different things going on. But as it stands right now, those guns are able to be used. And you had the young kid that went out there to the protest and shot like 5 people, and nobody really said anything about stuff like that when it goes on. But when it comes to shootings within our community, it's all of this, all of this uproar.
Right. What happened to that kid?
That kid's out on bail. He's out on bail. They raised up hella money for his defense.
Right.
Certain far right organizations and so forth and so on. So he's out here and he's being deemed a hero for shooting Black Lives Matter protesters. And who knows what's going to happen with him?
Listen, that's another thing. When your money talk, like I remember back in the day, they used to say money talk, BS walk, right? So he was able, and it's not just him. Let's think about it, my people. Whoever that's listening, understand that money talk. So if these organizations or us come together and start raising money, even with the politicians, start raising up that money and say, we want this done, we want that done. Because guess what? The Asian community got their money up and they got a bill passed. The Jewish community, they got their money up and they got something done. We're the only ones that can't even raise money up, because you got Black Americans, you got African Americans, you got Hispanic Americans, those who acknowledge that they're Black. You got Dominicans, those who also acknowledge that they're Black. So let's really think about it. I just named 4 races of people. You're Black. And we all come together and we put our money up to get certain things done. Things is getting slipped out of our hands because we're not doing what the other people are doing. We're not doing it.
Right. So we got the 17-year-old shooter. I just want to put the right information out. 17-year-old Illinois resident sought on first-degree intentional murder charge in connection with the fatal shooting in Kenosha, Wisconsin, at a protest sparked by the police shooting of Jacob Blake. A Black man was arrested Wednesday in his hometown. The suspect, Kyle Rittenhouse of Antioch, Illinois, was taken into custody Wednesday and was being held in Lake County judicial system pending an extradition hearing to transfer custody to Wisconsin, the Village of Antioch Police Department said in a Facebook post. So this kid was only 17 years old, and I think he's previously been bailed out of jail, but he was only 17 years old, and he's going through a protest, and he's gonna shoot 5 people, and they don't look at this as an issue. This is not an issue, but when it comes to our communities and the stuff that happens in our communities, they're thugs, they're this, they're that. But we don't need to get into all of that right now. So we got a shout out from the brother Asukili Mitchell. He said, peace, family, and happy Mother's Day to all the moms, grandmoms, and aunties, big sisters and brothers, and adopted legally and spiritually moms. I just had a call. I think I'm gonna answer this call on the air real quick. Hold on for a second. Go ahead, you can talk.
You mentioned 17-year-old, but what about the young girl who got tased by an officer? Like, come on. And this was a young girl.
Caller? Hello, caller. You on the air. This is the Speak Your Mind podcast with the Alis. What is your name and where are you calling from, caller?
That sound like mom.
What?
Hello, Mom. We got you live on the air right now, Mom.
Huh?
We got you live on the air right now.
Happy Mother's Day.
You're on the air.
Yeah, we got you on the air. Happy Mother's Day.
Thank you. God bless you all. And thank you so much.
You're welcome.
you was calling in, but we live on the air with the podcast. This is the Speak Your Mind podcast with the Alis. So we just wanted to answer the phone call so I could say Happy Mother's Day to my beautiful mother, and find out how you doing today.
I'm doing great. We had a great service today. Had a lot of young women and men and children today.
Oh, okay.
that's good.
That's what's up.
Yeah, it was nice. We had a beautiful service.
That's good.
Okay. So did you like the flowers?
They are beautiful. I told you last night, I thank God for the flowers you all sent. They were beautiful.
Okay, that's beautiful. So we're not gonna hold you up because we got you on the air. Is there anything you want to say to the people?
I beg your pardon?
Is there anything you want to say to the people that's listening to the podcast today?
Yes, Mom. Say Happy Mother's Day to everybody.
Happy Mother's Day. God bless you. Jesus loves you, and so do we. Blessed day.
All right, Mom. Love you. We'll call you later, all right?
All right. And how's my little daughter?
I'm here. We'll call you back.
Bless you. I love you all.
Love you too. Speak to you later.
All right. And thanks for the beautiful, beautiful flowers.
You're welcome.
All right.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
That's a Mother's Day right there. That's some Mother's Day love right there.
That was nice.
That was my old Earth on the phone. She went out to church services today. You know, she enjoyed herself. Whatever puts her in a happy place, that's what's up. And I celebrate and salute that, man. So she out there. She went to church and she had a service and she's happy. She got the flowers from us in the family. So everything is good with that.
Absolutely.
So, was it anything you also wanted to talk about that topic?
No, we can move on.
All right. Well, speaking of Mother's Day celebration, right? So last night we had a special Mother's Day celebration, and I'm not sure how many people tuned in, but we tuned in last night and we was listening, and this was SWV, SWV versus Escape on Versus last night. Now I remember growing up, SWV was like, they was just like the group to listen to. I don't know. I like all of their songs coming up. I always loved like Weak in the Knees, their first album. I liked one of my favorite songs is You're Always on My Mind. I don't think that was on the first album, but that's still one of my favorite songs to this day. I always listen to that song, and they played that song last night. They played the song with Michael Jackson. Now, as far as Escape also with Just Kick It and various songs that they played last night that I had forgot about. So both groups was like, it was a powerhouse. It was love for the culture last night. What you thought about it?
I think it was really good. I definitely, and the women's group, I enjoyed it. Spinderella was up there. It was amazing. It was really good. It was just sometimes some parts that was kind of funny, like wow. But they came together as sisterhood. They hugged. Like Lily said, y'all don't have to pick. We all winners. No matter what. And they still friends. So that's a beautiful thing too. They were still friends. There's no animosity towards the woman. The Black culture is beautiful. Look at that.
Right.
Look at that.
Yeah, that was beautiful, man. They was definitely showing Black love, sisterly love last night. They were singing each other's songs and everything. It was a love environment, man. So it was definitely a good day for the culture. Both of these groups, you got to know at least 2 or 3 songs from each one of these groups, probably by heart, could sing a word for word. So, it was just a good vibe. We had a little something to sip on. We was chilling, watching the big screen TV. And it was a good look. It was
Jermaine Dupri, they gave him a shout out. Escape basically said, thank you for giving us the opportunity because, by them being, I guess they consider themselves as hood from Atlanta. you know, they had the opportunity to do what they had to do, and he believed in them. So that was beautiful. You know, Sisters with Voices, they was, oh my God. Once they got into it, because at the beginning they was just sitting down.
Right.
So I kind of felt that something wasn't right. But once they did the whole wardrobe, Coco changed up her clothes. She was able to kick it. She was able to dance. She was able to do
Them shoes
everything.
was hurting her feet. That's what was going on.
Not only that, I think her. I personally saw that her pants. You know, sometimes when you sit down in your pants, you kind of show uh cheeks. You
Oh,
know, so I think that was her issue, because even when they wanted to sit on the step, she was like, I can't. So I don't think it was the shoes per se. That could have been a part of it, but I do believe it was the pants that was the issue. But they did do their thing. They look good. I mean, I'm not to be funny, but our blackness is real. Like, they look good. Oh my
that's a
gosh.
fact.
It's
And
no
like Brother Asakile said, these two groups can sing.
word. That is a true fact. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. I mean, I think Tamika gave Coco the mic, and she was into, their song, and they were saying, I think it was the what's her name? Candy. She mentioned, that's my song,
Right.
they was really, really grooving. They was having a good time. And I enjoy watching this. I think this was, no offense to my rap, but this was better than Method Man and Redman. I don't know what the heck that
And
was.
that's without a doubt, hands down. This was better than Method Man and Redman.
Yeah,
And Redman is like one of my original favorite hip hop artists from the early '90s, man. But this right here, this was that vibe. You could sit there and listen and vibe to the singing and all of that. And
right.
I realized that as I get older, I listen to more singing than I do hip hop, and that's sad, but I do. So I definitely like SWV, and I definitely
Hmm.
like Escape, and I definitely like the whole vibe last night. It
This
was
one remind me of, sorry to cut you off. This one remind me of the Jill Scott and
Erica Badu.
Erica Badu. Yes.
Right.
That was this particular night, because they was showing each other love like crazy, Erica Badu and Jill Scott. So that was pretty good too. Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
After this, I listened to like 6 soul ciphers at the Soul Train Awards. After that, I just was on YouTube all night just listening to music. I was vibing last night. But yeah,
Hmm.
this was definitely a good vibe. So
Hmm.
we're gonna move on to the next topic. Um, yeah, so this is an unfortunate situation right here, because in our communities last year, everybody was stressing to us, listen, go out there and make sure you get counted for the census. And I don't think a lot of people paid attention to what would be the ramifications of not going out there and being counted, or making sure that our neighbors got counted for the census. So this is an opinion article in the Amsterdam News. It says census laws lessons count Africans 2030. All right. Now in this article, it says that throwing around blame for the loss of New York's congressional seat due to the census undercount would be missing the mark. We should be more concerned about the billions of federal dollars each year for the next 10 years that New York won't get, because of
Mm.
the federal government doesn't know these people are here to be served in schools. On my
Wow.
Facebook page, I shared a video from 2016 about a campaign I helped called Count Africans 2020. Not to gloat and say I told you so. I get no satisfaction from that, or very little. But we need to ask questions about why it was only last year the New York State and New York City were meaningfully funding local groups to get people counted. We better learn from it, so we don't even allow a situation where our state is denied the billions we are shorted by each year for the next 10 years. Back when I took this video in 2016, our coalition of representatives, including Ramatu Ahmed, Ambassador Siddiq Y, and Bakari Tandia were directly asking the Commerce Committee and U.S. Census leadership to set funding aside to better count immigrant groups like Africans who are regularly undercounted. By 2017, all of the massive contracts to do outreach and marketing for Census 2020 were distributed with no plan to do the outreach we were asking for. And as we know now, the significant efforts that New York State put in to supplement the U.S. Census outreach were too little and too late. Importantly, our collective New York State government witnessed 4 years of Trump doing everything possible to promote undercounts in the immigrant-rich states like ours by trying to force a citizenship question, reducing time for the counting during the pandemic, and other tricks we may never know about. Our folks across the offices knew all this was happening and would have effects and didn't see fit to meaningfully ensure proper counts, which now will affect their budgets and effectiveness each year for the next 10 years. That's where the real story lies. Fellow members of New York, this is a major disaster for New York State. And if our government official friends aren't saying much, know that it's in their collective interest to let this pass quietly. Some of us have been telling them for 5 years ago. So now count Africans 2030. Wow. So basically, this is by Sam Disu, and it's in the Amsterdam News. So basically, what they're saying is because we was undercounted in this census, and COVID-19 was a major issue. So a lot of us didn't get counted during the pandemic. We lost a congressional seat, and we're faced to lose billions of dollars in funding with other people that are going to be in the schools, and there's not going to be enough funding for them over the next 10 years. And that with all across the board federal funding that's supposed to be for this district that won't be there, and we actually lost a congressional seat. So when people is out here talking about, yo, listen, go out there and get counted for the census. Come work for the poll worker, the census workers, this, that, and the third. People was looking at it like it wasn't nothing, like it wasn't really a big deal. And now look at the effect.
This is, once again, why is it that we have to lose before we could gain? We always losing because people are not really being educated on certain things. We try to educate people, but the whole COVID is so weird that came out around that time, because a lot of people were not opening their doors, were not doing, a whole bunch of other stuff, probably not even going out to mail anything. Who knows what was the issue? But it's weird that it came out around that time.
Yeah, it is weird. Not to be on no crazy conspiracy theory.
No, not at all. It's just weird. I'm thinking about it now.
It's just saying it's weird that right on 2020, when the most counted to get them to count done, there's all of these different factors that stop the count from being done. So, we need to have that sister that was on Families United for Solutions talking about the census. I think her name was Farine, or something like that.
Well, let's try to get her on.
Yeah, let's try to get her on so she could talk about the effects of what's going to happen with this census situation, so that we could get better prepared for next time, which will be in 2030, unfortunately, and we'll be a decade older.
Right. I don't get it. I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. I never knew the importance myself of the censors until you helped break it down to me. And I was like, wow. So in order for us to continue to have programs in our schools, the PALs on the block, because I remember I used to go to a PAL, but we don't even, I think it's one in Harlem, but in order for us to have certain programs going on for our children and for us, resources, is if you do the censors, so they would know what is how many is in the area, what is needed, and all these other little things. So what is it that this person said? You'd be surprised by how few of our people pay attention to current events, news, and issues that affect us. Absolutely. But if they do not break it down to the common denominator or the lowest, back in school they used to break all this stuff down to get you to get the same answer, but they broke it down to the lowest denominator so it bring you right back up.
Right.
That's probably what we need. We probably
No,
need.
that's what we here for.
I'm not saying, I'm talking about back then.
Okay.
We just started our program. And listen, Speak Your Mind podcast, so many people have told us that thank you for breaking it down to us. A lot of people don't get that. You just hear do this and because of X, Y, and Z, and that's it. But if Speak Your Mind podcast was around at that time and really, really ask people to share, and understand, and we bringing it down to the people, it probably would have been a better turned out to those who actually pay attention. But people are not breaking it down. Listen, one thing about my folks, we just wanna live.
Yeah.
We just want to live. We want to be able to go to the supermarket and be all right.
Right.
We want to just pay our bills and be okay. And
Well,
that's it. But we have to play a part in the things that is affecting us.
well, some of the stuff that's going on when it comes to the census. First of all, when I was coming up, what I hear census, I'm thinking police. I don't. These things may not even equate to each other, but I hear census, I'm thinking it's the police. I'm not opening the door. You're not coming in, and you're not counting nobody in this house. Secondly, sometimes we have a lot of brothers that may be staying with a sister, and she's on ACS. I mean, she's dealing with social services, public assistance, so forth and so on. So they may not want to stipulate that they're in the household. And then also they talking about the immigrant population. Maybe some people may not have their green card, so they don't want to be counted, so forth and so on. So it's a lot of underlying issues to why people do not want these people coming in the household or speaking about what exactly is going on in the household. Because unfortunately, a lot of us may be staying in a 1 or 2 bedroom apartment and have 10 people in the house. And it's not even really supposed to be like that. They're not on the lease. So people is nervous, like, nah, ain't nobody home. Matter of fact, don't answer the door. Go sit down. You know how that thing goes. Like, Mommy, the door. No, go sit down and cut the TV off.
Right.
So you know how this thing go. What as Achilles said, they did that for math and science class, but not social studies, history, and government-related critical classes. I agree. Right. They did it for math and science class as far as breaking down different stuff, but not for social studies and history and government-related critical classes.
That's a good one.
Now, he's 100% right, because I used to hate, when I was growing up, I liked math and science class, but I could not stand social studies. It was all of these just dates and figures and all of this different stuff, man. I used to be sitting there bored. I'd be falling asleep.
Right.
Now it's crazy. It flipped because now I love reading about history of our culture and all of these, but that also plays a part in us getting the knowledge of ourselves now. Right. So we got some people. Okay, so Anthony Singfeld said, matter of fact, salute to Tony Seinfeld as well, because this brother right here was definitely a positive brother who does great work. So I definitely want to salute him. I'm not going to out him or where I'm known from, but he's definitely a positive brother that does great work. And he said the sister is right. Break it down in video games like you're doing now, and keep it simple, right? Remember how they used to show us how a law is made on that cartoon show? A bill is just a bill. Yeah, that was that joint. That was that joint. How a bill becomes a law. You remember that little cartoon?
Right.
Saturday morning cartoons.
Yes. What was a Saturday morning cartoon? Oh my goodness.
For that. But that was my joint. I was there every Saturday watching them cartoons. And as Akile said, they should teach full civics classes: U.S. Constitution, NY Constitution, City Charter, government structures. Yeah, Schoolhouse rocks. Right. You
Yes.
still got that cartoon on there?
No.
Okay. So city charter, government structure, civil law, and criminal law. Yeah, we need to know all of these different things, right? Yeah, we definitely need to. Well, you know what? I'm gonna say this, right? One thing that you constantly bring to my attention is the fact that we can't talk about what's not being done if we're not going to do it. And that's one thing that I keep that within my heart as well. If we're not going to sit there and make a cartoon for Schoolhouse Rock, or how a bill becomes a law, or government civil structure, and all of these different things, then we can't complain that it's not being done by the
Exactly.
people that's in power, right?
Exactly.
Because we could do this stuff. We could
Of
sit there
course.
and have plays within our community, have our children showing them how to be judges and lawyers and government officials, and have them act out these different situations so that they would be better prepared to understand how the government structure works when they get older. We have to do this stuff. It's our responsibility. And you sit there, you pay taxes when you go to work. You pay taxes when you go to the store. You pay taxes if you own a house. You pay taxes if you own a car. So don't sit there and say that it does not affect you, because they're spending your money, your hard-earned money, however you going out there and get it, and they spending it on whatever they want to spend it on. They don't want to raise. They don't want to raise the living wage. What's that? How much you get paid? What is that?
Gross.
No, the amount of money that you get paid.
Yeah, the living rate,
The
the
living wage.
wage,
They
right?
don't want to raise that minimum wage, right? They don't want to raise unemployment. They don't want to help people to get housing loans. They don't want to do anything with the money, but it's your money that's being paid for these taxes. So
With your
how is
taxes.
this? And then you don't want to go to the town hall meeting. You don't want to vote. You don't want to do anything when it comes to your community, but complain about why it's rats and roaches and the roads is messed up and it's garbage up to your damn ears and all of that. You don't
Right.
want to do anything about it.
I
Come on,
mean,
let's get out here and do something.
exactly. I mean, I would love for all those beautiful. I don't even want to do a Zoom. I want to be able to come around at a park. Okay, let's say a park, and all those people that have an issue with all the things that we have an issue with. So I'm gonna say this: like-minded people. Get like-minded people all around, and we're gonna figure out what we need to do. Don't even put it on the Zoom. They're watching, they're listening, they're watching. Everything don't have to be on the Zoom. Not everything have to be on the StreamYard. Sometimes, back in the day, I'm gonna say Black Spade, for example. They used to have their little clubhouse, and they have their meetings and things of that nature. Everybody come up with the plan. Everybody come up with okay, so we're gonna do this 1 week for that Once you start coming with numbers, because I remember my entertainment friends, we used to always travel in numbers. Once we start traveling in numbers, that's when they like, oh, I gotta pay attention to this.
Right.
I gotta pay attention to these people over here because they're serious. So if the city council or whoever that's running, Manhattan Borough President, whoever that's running, and we come in numbers and say this is an issue, and we have all our agendas together. We have it together. We do have it together, but we just here. No, let's come around that table someplace and figure this thing out. We want more of something to go on for our children. Teach our children, them young boys. I saw myself saying to them, let's teach you how to write a bill. Let's teach you how to write a letter when your community is jammed up. Let's teach you how to make a complaint to whoever that needs to. That's what we need to do.
I agree.
Teach them, because they the ones who's coming up right behind us, and they shouldn't have to live like that, and they should not accept it. Don't accept that. Just like last year, we saw garbage all through Harlem, and there was no garbage cans, but there's garbage, but there's no garbage cans. That's the issue. There's mass all over the place. Where's sanitation? How come they wasn't cleaning this? And then when you went downtown and you showed the difference, how downtown had garbage cans on each corner. There wasn't no mass on the ground. So why is it that we are easy and okay with accepting the bull and other people are not? They come together at their town hall meetings and speak on what is affecting their community. We're not doing that. And if we are, we just saying a couple of things and leave it alone and never come back to it.
I agree. And it's so surprising. Like when we just went to PS 194 and we had the meeting with the principal had open arms. She's like, what do y'all want to do? Like, y'all want to do something in the community? We all for it. Listen, when we had the event yesterday, they had shirts made with County Cullen Community Coalition. They all in. So how many schools is within a 5-block radius of your neighborhood, right? How many schools have you been to and actually spoken to the administrators of the school and said, listen, I want to do something in my community. Can you assist or be a part of what's going on in our community? We want to have direct contact with the students within your school, and we want to do something for the betterment of our community. How many people is actually going to do that? We always talk about the youth. We always talk about where's the youth. The youth got to go to school.
Mm-hmm.
So how come you ain't go to the school and go talk to the youth? I remember when I was young, they used to have the meetings in the auditorium where almost the whole school would come into the auditorium and they would have people come in and speak. If you such a community expert and a community leader and all of this, and you want to reach the youth, how come you not going to the school and being in the auditorium and speaking to the youth? I don't understand it.
Hey. Listen,
I really don't understand it.
I volunteered in 2 schools and the school is open. I worked at one Bronx school. I was doing mentorship for the 5th graders. The schools, the people at the schools are open. I did bullying classes with the youth downtown and Harlem. They was okay with it. The schools are open. We just have to get in there and talk with the administrators or the principal or whoever it is and come with your plan. Don't just go and talk. Go with your plan. As I did, I showed the lady the paperwork that I put together, and she almost cried on me. Like I said to you yesterday, she almost cried, and I was just shocked. Like, she's like, you said some things that made a lot of sense, and I see her eyes. I was like, oh Lord, what did I do? But at the end of the day, but it meant that I said something that strike the nerve, or something that she see in her school, that the youth are being affected, with the whole bullying or domestic violence or whatever it is that they was going through. She see it, and I showed her what I could bring to the table. Dating, relationship, unhealthy relationships, healthy relationships. Talk about these things, because a lot of them don't know.
Right.
They're not hearing that at home.
That's a fact.
They hear it. Lord knows what they're hearing. I'm not even going to do it. I'm not even.
All right. So for the next topic, this is very important right here. This topic too. Right here, they talking about the guidelines is about to be overturned for the eviction ban, as far as CDC's eviction ban. So this is in the Grio.com. It says a federal judge overturned CDC's national eviction ban. More than $45 billion was allocated by Congress for rental assistance and the latest coronavirus relief package. Right. This is on May 6, 2021, and it's by Bieber Adams. It says a federal judge has struck down the national moratorium on evictions implemented by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention during the coronavirus pandemic. The ruling will put millions of Americans at risk of losing their homes months ahead of the projected moratorium end date in September. The U.S. Department of Justice plans to appeal the ruling of Judge Dabney Friedrich, who was appointed to the court in 2017 by former President Donald Trump.
Mm.
It is a role of the political branches and not the courts to assess the merits of policy measures designed to combat the spread of disease, even during a global pandemic, Friedrich wrote in the decision. The question for the court is a narrow one. Does the Public Health Service Act grant the CDC, hold up, does the Public Service Act grant the CDC the legal authority to impose a nationwide eviction moratorium? It does not, right? So it says, confirming the U.S. Department of Justice has filed a notice of appeal to the D.C. Circuit of this morning's ruling vacating the CDC's eviction moratorium. Also, we seek a stay of the decision pending appeal, DOJ Public Affairs spokesperson Anthony Coley tweeted. The CDC has banned most evictions across this country since last year. Their ruling was later extended by President Joe Biden through April through then June. More than $45 billion was allocated by Congress for rental assistance in the latest coronavirus relief package. States are scrambling to disperse the funds. The White House notes that the moratorium provided necessary relief for renters, saying that there was 1.55 million fewer evictions filed during 2020 that would be expected due to the eviction moratorium. So clearly, it has had a clear benefit, according to White House press secretary. So basically, according to White House press secretary Jen Psaki, according to research, if the moratorium had not existed during the height of the pandemic, 10,000 more people would have likely died last March and September. Wow.
Mm.
So, right now, basically, a lot of people have lost their jobs.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people really do not have the money to pay their rent. And, there was this eviction moratorium, which basically said that landlords could not kick people out during the pandemic for not paying their rent and so forth and so on. And President Biden had extended the moratorium. It has been extended a few times since it first started, and it was supposed to be up in September. So now this federal judge that was appointed by Trump is basically saying that this is basically unconstitutional, or it's against the law for them to have this moratorium. Now, what do you expect is going to happen right now?
Well, the party's over. That's all I can say. The party is over.
I'll tell you this, right? If you're in a community right now that is so-called gentrified, right? Like let's say Harlem, for instance. If you're in the Harlem community, which is facing significant gentrification, right? Then these landlords will be able to kick a lot of these people out of their apartments, and they'll be able to recruit the people that they want into these apartments. And
then it'd be called Soho. But go ahead.
So high.
Right.
That's right. So that's what's going to happen with this whole eviction moratorium being knocked away. A lot of people are going to lose their homes. There's going to be a lot of people that's going to be kicked out of their neighborhoods, and these neighborhoods are going to change. The rent levels are going to change, and people will not be able to get back into these neighborhoods.
Absolutely. I mean, and I say the party's over. For example, working in the shelter system, and I also mentioned to some of my clients, listen, pay something. Don't just get your money and don't pay nothing. Pay something. And, in my part, I was just making sure that the paperwork was in. The paperwork is in pretty much. So that way they can't say that their subsidy was lost because of the neglect on my end. No, I'm making sure the paperwork is in so everybody keep their subsidy. And once I break it down to the people like that, they are knocking on my door. Ms. Gay, would you need me to finish up my package? because the people in the shelter system, they don't have to pay much, but like I said, pay something. They got subsidy. We don't have subsidy. Our rent is whatever it is. It's past $1,000. Let's say that.
Mm.
So with that being said, there's so many other people that's past $1,000 as well. Pay something because they cannot say you didn't pay anything.
Right. So, Brother Asakile makes an important point. He says we do need a moratorium like that, but why was the CDC the agency that implemented it?
Ooh,
That isn't the purview of what they are supposed to be doing. I agree with
facts.
you. The Centers of Disease Control and Prevention is actually out here tracing these epidemics and following how these diseases are being distributed throughout the community and coming up with ways to combat that. But see, within that policy or within that practice, you find that if people are not able to socially distance and to stay in the household to keep away from other people, then the spread of the disease is going to be greater. So they put the eviction moratorium in place so that there's less people that's going into shelters, there's less people in the streets, it's less people to do all of these things. The question though is, were they legally supposed to do it, or are they the agency that was supposed to do it? And I think that's why the judge said, no, they don't have the power to do that. And they struck the moratorium down. So now the question becomes, who does have the legal ability to do that? And do they have the wherewithal to do it? Or do they want to do it, I should say, right?
Right. That's the next question.
So now I think, in my personal opinion, I think that they should have bailed somebody's land. They should have bailed the landlords out. Now, I know that the top down situation doesn't work, but there's also this stimulus package that's being given. You know, all of us got these stimmy. I ain't gonna say all of us. A lot of us got these stimmy checks, right? A lot of us got this unemployment and all of this different stuff. What about the landlords? Because some people is taking the stimulus money and the unemployment money, and they're actually using that to buy food. Right, to buy food and stuff for their household, so they don't even have the money. It's really not enough money to even pay rent, to tell you the truth, right?
Sure.
So why didn't they sit there and bail the landlords out? And then the question will come, would the landlords even abide by their bailout and not kick the people out?
That is a good question. I if you think about it, if they would have bailed out a lot of these landlords, I think we'd be jammed up.
Yeah.
Yeah, because almost people rents is $18,000, $2,000 for a studio apartment. All this craziness. I really don't. I guess they was hoping that the people who got the money supposed to put some money towards their rent. If you want to keep your apartment, you should make sure, because now that a whole year and you are in arrears, for example, $20,000.
Right. Where you gonna get that? You ain't coming up on that. You ain't coming up with that.
Unless you go into a agency to get them to bail you out.
Right.
You know, there's home base, there's other um Bronx is an agency in the Bronx. They will bail you out, yeah, but at the end of the day, why do you have to go through that? They was hoping that the people who are responsible to make sure they put some money towards their rent. If that's what you want to keep this apartment, this is what you mostly concern. That's like making sure you have a winter coat that fits you, because you can have a winter coat that's not fitting you, but you'll make sure you have a winter coat for the winter, right?
Right.
So if you this is your apartment, this is what you know what's gonna happen. You know you're gonna get thrown out if you don't get no government assistance.
Right.
So that is your responsibility to make sure you get that done. We worked and we made sure our bills was paid.
And that's a fact. But see, one thing, we was blessed as far as the type of service work that we do, right? A lot of people was working in jobs where they were not able to continue working at the job or they were laid off.
Right.
Now, Brother Mitchell brings up a very important point too. He said a lot of times the government deliberately set up programs, bills, etc., to fail from the jump by the way they're implemented, funding or lack of, and who they hire to lead it. So basically, it's just planned failure, right? So they know that the situation, first of all, number one, they know for sure if they put these stimmy checks in the mail, right? They know for sure that people is going to get that big screen TV,
and
right?
That's what we saw.
So this is a stimulus package. This is not a pay rent package. They want to make sure that money is flowing. And this is what we seen. We seen the big boxes of the televisions that was out there on the corner. We seen all of the different cars that was out there. Can't even find a place to park at no more. We seen the Gucci, the Louis, the Prada. We seen all of the extravagance, the hood extravagance that we have seen. But we have not seen people paying their rent. So my brother said that he didn't get any of the stimulus money. So what I will say to him is this: make sure that you filed and paid your taxes for the last few years. There is a site where you can go on and obtain the stimulus money if it has not been acquired yet. I don't have the site. I don't have the name of the site with me, but I will reach out to you when I find out the information. But there's a specific site where you can apply to, and you can find out if you have stimulus money that's waiting for you, or if it was sent somewhere else and you didn't receive it.
Right.
So we can find out that information, and by next show, we'll definitely share that information with the listeners. Now, a lot of times if people have moved somewhere, okay, he said, okay, so Brother Sinfile said that IRS.gov. So you go to IRS.gov and you can find out if you have stimulus money that hasn't been acquired or what is the issue with your stimmy check. So make sure you go on IRS.gov if you want to find out that information.
And you can give a donation to I Am Phenomenal Unlimited LLC.
That's right. Make sure you do that because, you know, we try to bring as much information as possible to the people. But, you know, time, really, you're not paying for money. Like, it's not really about the money. It's about the time, right? When we go out and we pay for a service, it's about the time. Instead of us having to go and put together a Caesar salad, right, and go to the store, buy the materials for the salad, come home and fix the salad. We go to the store and we buy the salad already made. It's all about time, right? So when it comes to time of us coming with these different topics and bringing stuff together, you know, it's time consuming, and we just want the community to be involved.
Right.
It's our service work right here. We just want the community to be involved, to come and get this information so we can come to a consensus and have a better day for tomorrow.
And please share, because this information may not be for you per se, but it might be for the next person. So just share, you know, we want to be able to build our platform at the end of the day. But for the most part, I just hope and pray that everybody do what they got to do. Look, you saw what he said.
He said, LOL, got you, sis. I do need to complete my taxes. But listen, bro, I've been ordering books. My neighbors have been buying clothes, TVs, stereos, shoes, and sneakers. Oh, my bro, please don't talk about ordering books, because now you're going to have the queen get on me, because she always said, why you keep buying all these books? You buying books and books and books. Another book. Yeah, listen, I'm telling you, these books is going to pay off one day. But, you know, that's an investment. These books are an investment, because I want to be in a position where if, you know, I do have the youth come through, I'll be able to refer them or give them a certain book and, you know, put these curriculums together so that we can pass on to the next generation and they can start off at the starting point where we left off. Also, you know, buying clothes, TVs, stereos, and sneakers, You know, that's the nature of our people, man. Like, we're used to the extravagance. Don't sit here and tell me. I know you're a student of history. You know the
He
science
knows.
of Mansa Musa. You know the science of King Tut. The extravagance is something that is deep in our history. It's deep in our history. So we're gonna want the best. We're gonna want the best. We're the kings and queens of the earth, right? We want the best. However, we got to take care of what's most important first,
Absolutely.
and then come to the extravagance later, right?
Absolutely.
So we got to make sure that our communities is taken care of. We got to make sure that our children are nurtured, protected, loved, and educated. We got to make sure that our elders is taken care of. We got to make sure that mom is loved. Yo, we got to do all of these things. We got to make sure that our father gets the love. You know,
Right.
we gotta do this
Absolutely.
stuff. We got to make sure that our communities is clean. And if it's not clean, go out there and clean it.
Right. You know, I do want to say when it come down to the big size TV and all that, that's beautiful. But listen, because at one point we was looking to, and we was looking at the 3D or something, some type of new
Yeah, they got the
TV.
new one, the nano cell.
But guess what we didn't do? We didn't get it. We didn't get it because listen, let's really really take it back. If we don't have the money to pay our rent, I hope and pray you sell that TV for the same cost, right?
Buying that TV?
But my next thing is when you get thrown out with your clothes and your sneakers and that TV, where you gonna watch it at? You can't. Where you gonna? Now you got to put it in somebody else's house or is in storage because you don't have a place to go to. You don't want to take it into no shelter because they would take your stuff. So I mean, I think we need to break that down too to get people to understand those things. If you already got a TV in your apartment, be grateful, be happy you got an apartment. Save your money. It's about saving now. Let's start saving our money, putting our money in ways to invest. I am looking for someone who's going to break down the finance piece of saving our money or where to invest our money. Who is out there? Somebody got to be out there to tell us about what is it stocks. I want
Well,
somebody to show us about stocks, huh?
well, a little birdie told me that someone I know very well is about to start her MBA program tomorrow. For those who don't know, an MBA is a master's in business administration. And the queen, Shanice Gatewood Ali, is starting her MBA program tomorrow.
Yes, yes, yes.
Are you ready? Are you ready?
I'm nervous. So yes, I am going back to school for my master's in business. Yeah, I was already reading a couple of things on Saturday night, preparing myself for that. I want to be able to I have businesses. I want to be able to run my business effectively. I want to be able to give the knowledge to our people as well. So yeah, I am. I'm about to be an MBA, next year or so. Yes,
That's
and the shout out to you because you got yours. And listen, I would never even thought I from associates. I was like, I'm done. I'm not going back. And then all my friends was like, Shanice, we gonna do this, and we got our bachelors. So now, living with a man of his Lehman College masters,
you see it. I'm flagging it there. You see it.
he's been, pushing it, pushing it, pushing it, and then you got mom who's pushing it, pushing it, pushing it. So I'm like, you know what? Let me go ahead. Let me just do it. So this is the time I'm going to be back in school tomorrow night.
So my brother Tony Seinfeld said, many of us are guilty of buying our children and ourselves things we didn't have growing up. but the
That's
growth
true.
is the struggle. Yeah, the growth is the struggle, because if there's
Hmm.
no resistance, there's no struggle, there's no growth. So we know and understand what the underlying problem is, and we have to work to solve the problem, right? Us that have been studying these things for so long, you'll be
Right.
surprised that just a little bit of information that you have gained over these years is enough to bring somebody to the next level of enlightenment, right? Just a
Absolutely.
little bit, just one thing you may have read over the last few years is something that somebody else may not know. And we teach that each one should teach one according to his own knowledge, his or her own knowledge. So with us sharing this information, we just want to give information to the public that can help them, or maybe put a seed, just a little seed, so that they could think about things in a different way. So tonight I will be at
Oh, yes.
um Art Transforms, right? Tonight I will be doing a presentation at Art Transforms.
At
Where
7
is
o'clock.
at 7 o'clock, right? So let me share the little blurb. Okay, so this this organization, Art Transforms, has been facilitating different community discussions. Last week, the Queen was on there talking about healthy and
Healthy and
unhealthy relationships, right? And it was a great conversation. People were involved. But this week, I'm gonna be on there, and I'm gonna be talking about health disparities and social and environmental determinants of health. The name of my topic is COVID-19 is not the problem, right? A lot of us is, we caught up in the pandemic and the different parts of the pandemic that have affected our life, whether it be people in our family dying, or not being able to get a job, or not being able to get an apartment, or should we go get the vaccine, and all of these different things. However, what is the underlying issue that makes us more susceptible when certain things like pandemics come around? Because last year it was all the talk was how minority neighborhoods have been adversely affected by COVID-19. It's not because of our DNA. It's not because of something that is just innate within us that makes us more susceptible to these diseases. It's because of the social and environmental structure that we live in, right? Our socioeconomic status, right? Our lack of education, our lack of good paying and quality living jobs, our lack of quality living environments, right? All of these different things, healthy food deserts that we live in. So it says here in the blurb, Joseph Ali, in a conversation about the real reasons why COVID-19 hit communities of color like a tornado. Many factors such as poverty and healthcare access are intertwined and have a significant influence on people's health and quality of life. Racial and ethnic minority populations are disproportionately represented among essential workers. Most of these workers belong to and live within communities disproportionately affected by COVID-19. So we're gonna delve into it and really talk about the issues that make us more susceptible when these pandemics come around. Because this, I promise you to anybody listening out there today, this will not be the last pandemic.
Nope.
So what are you doing to make yourself healthy?
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing to make your family members healthy and ready so that the next pandemic does not affect us the way this one did?
Yep.
We have to be prepared, right? We listen to Harlem Emergency Network. Mark McPhee turned us on the Harlem Emergency Network. They talk about the different things that affect us as far as being community prepared when a situation occurs. Now we know exactly what's going on in our communities that make us adversely affected. So the question is, what are you going to do? With great knowledge comes great responsibility. And if you don't do anything different tomorrow than you did today, then we haven't learned anything new, and there is no growth.
Absolutely.
That
Absolutely.
would be my topic tonight. You could come on the Zoom tonight. Matter of fact, I'm gonna put the Zoom information in the chat. I'm gonna put the Zoom information in the chat. Join us tonight on on
Art Transform.
Transforms Inc. right? There will be a discussion on COVID-19 not being the problem that is faced in our communities. The problem is the underlying issues that we have been facing for centuries in this country. It's gonna
Go all the way up to where it says join Zoom conversation. Go to that.
join Zoom
Well,
conversation.
actually, go up to it says topic, and so that way people will know what time to join us.
Okay, I'll put that in there too. Okay, it will not be on Facebook. It will be on Zoom. You just got to go to the link. If you want me to send you the link personally, just text me or email me, and I can send the link to you personally, and you could come and add on to this conversation. It's a good forum. They definitely a bunch of people on there that's doing community work and people that want to know the information. It's a great table. I mean, it's a great circle of information and people, and just come on.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. Last week was pretty awesome.
Super dope.
Yeah, it was fun. The participation and everything was fun. A lot of people understood the differences of healthy and unhealthy. We even discussed about people relationships. I'm not a relationship expert, not at all, but that the information was helpful. Those individuals did not really sit back and think about the things that we talked about. And then for you with your discussion tonight, once COVID is gone, those problems are still there. So, like you said, COVID is not the issue. So,
right. So as Akile said, one of the biggest issues no one is seriously talking about is how serious the situation with schools is. Children are behind over a year in many cases. Biden barely mentioned it in his joint address. I agree with you. But if you listen to people like Jeffrey Canada, the founder of Harlem Children's Zone, he said that the reason he started Harlem Children's Zone is because in some cases, some of these schools have been failing for over 50 years. If a school is failing for over 50 years, that means that generation upon generation upon generation, sometimes from the same family, have come out of a failing school. Do you know how many people that affects?
Everybody.
And the question is, when the politician comes to your schools, comes to your churches, comes to your community meetings, kissing babies and hugging women and all of these different things, why is nobody asking why these schools is failing?
Because they are being distracted by, oh my goodness, he or she is a nice person. We're being distracted. And then we get the whole promised land. Oh, I promise I'm gonna do this, and I promise I'm gonna do that. And then reality, once they get in, all of that is not even on the topic anymore. That's not even talked about anymore. I remember I went to a particular person in office, and I spoke about bullying, right? Because I saw that bullying was an issue. A lot of our children are committing suicide because of bullying. Next me, a couple of weeks later, we hear that they're doing a bullying group or workshop. That was only one time. Half the people in there was not children. They was grown adults, right? So now we just heard a 9-year-old was being bullied, and one of the children got paid to punch the little boy upside his head. Now that little boy is not even here anymore. He's dead.
Wow.
So I seen that was an issue before it was a pandemic. I went to the office and spoke to a certain person, and nothing was done. It was all
I can't be
what do you want? What do you want to be done? And I gave certain, solutions only one time. Okay. So he said, "You're right about the false promises and handshaking nonsense. That's why the black agenda is so important." Right. Where's our brother Ice Cube?
Right. Where is he at? But I mean, we don't have to look for a mystery God, right? We don't have to look for a mystery savior to go out here and save our communities. Ice Cube, he did what he did during that time, but what are we doing right now? Like the brother Asukile said, they're setting up, they're writing down a black agenda in Families United for Solutions. I just want to make sure that whatever agenda we do come up with is all inclusive of whatever agendas have already been. So with over Black History Month, he did the black agenda as far as creating a black agenda, and I gave the history of the black plan. So in order for proper planning, we have to look at what has been done before us, where we're at now, and how do we move forward, right? So we have to incorporate all of the stuff that our ancestors have done and everything that we plan to do now and what has changed. And that's the way we come up with the perfect black, I'm not going to say perfect black agenda, a good black agenda, and that can be added on to. And then when we do come up with that agenda, we have to have a milestone process with formative impact and outcome assessments to see whether we are staying with the agenda that we set in the beginning, or we're moving away from the agenda, right? And we have to be, that's the way to hold each other accountable so that we move forward with our agenda. So that's what we're going to have to do over this next year. We have to start small. Say, listen, okay, what do we want to do? We want to have a school with better computers and better information about our culture. Okay, if we want to do that, then what are the steps in doing it? What is the overall goal? And what are the small, smart objectives to get it done? What is the time process that we plan on getting it done, and what has been done? And we keep doing that with each step of the agenda, and we'll get great things done. So with that, I'm going to say peace. But if you want to finish off, go ahead.
Well, we definitely need evidence based. So I remember certain agencies or nonprofit organizations will have discussions with NYPD about certain things, right? We wasn't a part of that. I'm sure a whole lot of other people wasn't a part of that. So what I want to say is, let's not be those agencies and those organizations who are getting the coins right now, who are getting the acknowledgments, and they're only the ones who's getting feedback or giving feedback to NYPD. Let's do something different. How about we go old school and we hand out flyers and say, I would like for you to meet us at the school that we want to talk about a black agenda. However, we already have our 5 and we got room for another 5. And let's put that together into different schools. Let's talk about it. Let's have a black agenda community fair. Because now we getting other people's input and bringing it into this list that we already have. So, Asakili, I'm counting on you too, brother. Let's be a part of that. Let's do that. Okay? And if this is something that's very important for the people, they will be a part of it. Those who's not, okay. But when things start happening, don't say, I didn't know, or nobody didn't tell me, or no, we're letting people know we want you to be a part of this because this affects you too.
That's right. That's right. So to close out, I once again want to say Happy Mother's Day to all the earths in the universe, all the queens, all the beautiful queens that have shaped us and nurtured us and was there for us in our roughest times, in our beginnings, have fed us out of their own bodies in many of the cases. Salute to all these beautiful queens, these mothers of the universe, man. We love y'all. We love My mother called. I spoke to my mother on the podcast, man. So you know I'm definitely showing love to my mother. Are you showing love to your mother? Reach out to her. Send her something. Tell her you love her. Even if you don't speak to her, just send her, I love you, Mom. It's very important, right? So salute to everybody out here on this Mother's Day. I wish y'all the best. And make sure you join us tonight at Art Transform for a great conversation about what we're facing in our community that makes us more susceptible to these pandemics. With that, I'll say peace.
Peace.
Peace. Brought to you by Iron Phenomenal Unlimited. This is the Speak Your Mind podcast, hosted by the Queen, Shanice Gatewood Ali, and the God, I.B. Speak Your Mind, an open line podcast delves into the week's current events, trending topics, and the social issues that affect Black people in America.